Previously on the last Pokemon Crystal SuperMON run, Big Hammer, and coming up, this is harder and more terrifying than a Nuzlocke. I am very excited to be able to bring you the CLEFABLE SuperMON challenge here today. It is definitely a Pokemon with a lot of choice with its learn set, and in the right hands it can do very well in a classic solo run. Unfortunately for CLEFABLE though, I am not the right hands. I did not have a good time in any of my CLEFABLE solo challenges. But this is a different set of rules, it's a different format, so I will now hand you over to the live run, where we are about to see if CLEFABLE does any better in the SuperMON challenge than it did in its solo run. I think it only makes sense after running Gengar to run CLEFABLE. Now this Pokemon is already giving me issues because we have so many moves that we can pick from. There are far too many to count. We've got Sing down to Splash and everything in between. So our first choice in this run is what learn set do we give to try and get some info to see how far we can get. I'm not feeling confident about getting all the way through with CLEFABLE on the first try, but I'm trying to figure out a learn set that I think would get us fairly far. Now looking at our speed, if we do get to red, we're going to want to play as a special attacker, because just 60 in speed means we don't really have the greatest chance of outspeeding Pikachu, and that means we'll get charmed. So I think we are going to go for all three of the tutor moves. I know we did two of them in the last run, but unfortunately they are just that good. I've got a feeling that the tutor moves might end up being the new hidden power and new return in these games, but they are not universal, so we will teach all three of those to begin with. We might only end up needing two of them at the very end of this, if we don't make it through on our first try, that is. But having all three, we'll be able to experiment at the very least. So we've got Flamethrower, we will now grab ourselves Thunderbolt, and the last one is going to be Ice Beam, and then after that, we need to figure out our fourth move. Now, I am thinking potentially either Tri-Attack or Body Slam. I know that on paper, Body Slam is a much better move than Tri-Attack, higher PP, higher base power, and a chance to paralyse. But is a chance to burn or freeze going to be worth having for the lower PP and lower base power? As biased as I am to Tri-Attack, I think the answer is going to be no. So I am considering Body Slam rather, over Tri-Attack. But at this point, what four moves would you use? If we have another run, you never know, I might end up with the same four moves you pick. Probably not, because we all know what I'm like. I'm not exactly the smartest player, am I? But I think we will go for Body Slam on this particular attempt, and we'll see how far we get. Throughout the course of this challenge as well, I will remind you of the rules and the parameters of this challenge, because I know it's still very, very new. This is only our second video where we are doing the SuperMON challenge, so we will get ourselves up to speed. But with that, we now have our learn set. Let's take a look at it. We are level 5 with 26 HP, we're holding that berry as always, with Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam and Body Slam. 13 in attack and defense, 15 in the specials, and just 12 in speed. So now, as we get this challenge underway, I am going to ask you, if you are enjoying these SuperMON challenges, please do think about liking the video and subscribing to the channel. They take a lot of time, energy, effort and patience to produce. I can tell you that CLEFABLE was not originally planned to be straight after Gengar. There are a couple of other runs that I still need to give a little bit more time to, because I've not quite found the winning formula yet. So if you do enjoy them, please do think about doing the likes and the subscribes. And if you're wondering what on earth is the SuperMON challenge, do not fret, I will now take you through the rules of the challenge. So this is a solo Pokemon challenge devised by a wonderful person in our comments section called Matthias, and it's a solo challenge with a bit of a difference from what we're used to. Instead of being against the clock, we are against the gym leaders, and the Elite Four, and Lance, and Red. We will earn 1 point for every successful victory over a gym leader or an Elite Four member. We will earn 2 points for defeating Lance, and we will earn 3 points for defeating Red. That gives us a grand total of 25 points. That is our theoretical maximum, and that is when we can call a Pokemon a SuperMON. Now, to get there, we have to do it in one attempt. A reset is counted as a loss. So if we get knocked out, we go right back to the beginning, we take a look at our moves, and we go back to the drawing board. The only moves we can use are the 4 moves we select at the very beginning of the challenge. So in this instance, we have picked Body Slam, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, and Flamethrower. We cannot change those in any way, shape, or form for the rest of the challenge. So we have to commit from the very beginning. And with that, you know how to play a SuperMON. It is a very, very tough challenge. It's sort of in the middle of a solo run, a Nuzlocke, an Ironmon run, and plenty of other ways we have learnt to play the game wrong. And one other thing I should mention is we have a hard-coded level cap. That means that our Pokemon's level will not be able to exceed the maximum level of the next gym leader's ace Pokemon. So for instance, we're about to go into Falkner. Falkner's Pidgeotto is level 9, so as soon as we hit level 9, we will not be able to gain any more experience points. We will still be able to get the stat experience from the Pokemon we knock out, but we will have to wait until our next level up. We don't have HM friends in this, we have HM items. The HM friends are getting some well-deserved rest, and that is because all TM functionality has been removed from this version of Pokemon Crystal. That stops us inadvertently cheating in the middle of the run. You may also notice there is no timer on screen. We do not need to worry about time whatsoever. All that we worry about is getting the Pokemon as far as we can through this challenge. We can get any items we like, we can sell all the TMs for vitamins. In fact, vitamin shopping comes in very important in these runs, because it does give us a little bit of an extra boost to our stat experience. We are playing on Gen 2 stat experience, that means we can max out every single stat. Now you may have seen there against Bugcatcher Wade, we did not get any experience points whatsoever. However, we still do get the stat experience, not great stat experience from Bugcatcher Wade admittedly, but it still all does add up. And with that, we are now in our first gym together. We're about to hopefully get our first point of hopefully several throughout the course of this challenge. We're going into Falkner. He is a flying type specialist. He's going to lead with Pidgey. We have Thunderbolt and we have Ice Beam, so I'm not even going to bother to heal here. We crit the Pidgey, probably didn't matter. We get hit by a gust and we one-shot the Pidgeotto. And that means we obtain the Zephyr badge, our level cap goes up, and we also earn our first point. That is a very good sign. It means we're not going home with nothing. So now we are going to climb the Sprout Tower. That might seem a little bit strange, doing Sprout Tower immediately after Falkner if we're used to the classic challenge runnings. But we get the experience from all of these trainers. We don't have to worry about the timer, so we don't have to worry about the extra time expenditure. And we have a couple of key items at the very top of the Sprout Tower. All of the HM moves and all of the field moves have been replaced with items. So that means we don't need to worry about any kind of movement across the overworld. And in fact, I really like having the HM items. It means we can have just one Pokemon in our party the entire time. We are now gaining levels again because we are up to the next level cap, but I can guarantee that we will hit level 16 well before we get to Bugsy. Now, unlike in our Nuzlockes together, because we are training just one Pokemon and we're running with just one Pokemon, we are not allowing the use of an infinite rare candy, or the candy jar as we like to call it, until after we have defeated Blue. Just because of how long Blue will take and how many levels difference there are between Blue and Red, I'm allowing myself to bump the level up of our Pokemon after we've defeated Blue. It's a little bit of a cop-out, but I really don't fancy spending an hour, 2 hours, even at 4 times speed, grinding through the Elite Four to get the levels just to face Red for the chance of beating him. It's one of those sacrifices for the sake of content. I just decided that's the place we're going to be doing a little bit of cheating. Now, we have the lantern from the sage at the top of the tower, and we also get the key escape rope. The lantern is our flash analog, and the key escape rope is going to act just like a regular escape rope, and like the dig field move, except it will never run out. And now it's at this point of the challenge, I do just want to say that there are going to be multiple ways you can play a lot of Pokemon. We are all going to be learning from scratch. This is a brand new format, so there are going to be ways and methods that we've not really thought of for getting through a little bit easier. So we are right back to where we were at the beginning of the channel. So that means I might make misplays. In fact, I probably will make a lot of misplays. I'll take on wrong trainers, I'll take losses where I probably shouldn't have done, but it's all part of the learning curve. So please do have a little bit of patience if it's looking like I'm doing something that you think you wouldn't do, because the chances are I am just being a little bit daft. But I did just want to reiterate that because I know that I'm definitely not going to be the most efficient, and that's another part of the reason why I decided to scrap the timer for this format, because it is going to take a lot of thinking. You've got to manage your stat experience and your regular experience incredibly carefully in this, because if you skip trainers and then find you're up against someone who you're ranging against, if you'd have taken some extra stat experience in the relevant stat, you might have got the one shot and you might have gotten through. That's part of the reason why I've stopped using the rappel here in Union Cave as well, because we get a few encounters, we get a little bit of extra stat experience, and because we don't have that clock looming over us, we can just take our time. And so now, as we are making our way further through Union Cave, we are about to hit our next level cap. We're about to hit 16. I won't show every time we're hitting a level cap, but at least in the beginning, especially on these first few runs, I just want to demonstrate that it does always stay at the level cap as soon as we hit it. So there's no chance of doing any cheese at all, which for me is great because I'm lactose intolerant. I am still going to pick up a lot of items. In fact, I'll be picking up more items on these runs than on all of our challenge runs, because I can sell all of them for a lot of money and get even more vitamins. I do think vitamins are going to be the key to these challenges. As I mentioned in the Gengar challenge, I do have a little bit of an indication on my screen telling me exactly how many vitamins I can use per Pokemon. So that does just give me a little bit of help. It's the one bit of extra assistance I like in our challenges, because that means I'm not overbuying or underbuying anything at all. And now, with the rockets taken care of, we can go into our next gym. This is going to be our second gym. We've got a few gym trainers to take care of before we can score our next point. Now, in the event of a tie break, if a Pokemon does not complete the run, we are going to score it based on how far through to the next point that Pokemon was. So for instance, if we lost to Bugsy Scyther here, we would get a very high 1 point compared to, say, if we lost somewhere on Route 32. Now, I won't be displaying those points because that's going to get all kinds of messy, but when we get to the leaderboard at the very end, those numbers will be meaningful for ordering the Pokemon in sort of the correct order, and then in those very close tie breaks, I'll just go by vibes, honestly. But now it is time for our second gym leader. This is Bugsy. He is worth our second point. He led with Metapod, it went down in a flamethrower. Kakuna goes down the same way. We are going to take some damage from the Scyther, but not too much at all. And that means we have 2 points. Hive Badge acquired, doubling our pointage. We get TM49 as well. We can sell that for money. That makes me very happy. And we are about to take on our next rival battle. We will do a very quick heal with a potion. There's no need to go into the Pokemon Center. And we will take him on. He leads with Ghastly. We'll use a flamethrower. We'll knock it out in 1. We'll swap to Ice Beam for the Zubat. And then we can keep on Ice Beaming for the Bayleaf. Poison Powder misses. He thinks we're a fairy for some reason there. And we get through on our first try. Now, looking at that PP, I do want to go and restore it ever so slightly. Let's now start making our way through the forest, though. And now, as we're making our way through the forest, we got a scythe from the charcoal maker. That is our replacement for Cut. There is a man who will give you a tree shaker. if you do wish to use the headbutt trees in these challenges. But I was thinking a little bit about some of the weaker Pokemon, should we say, the ones that will have a tougher time through these challenges. And my idea is to give them a try with their normal Gen 2 learn sets initially, see just how far we can go, and then I will look at backporting some of their later generation moves. I'm thinking a Pokemon like Ledian, for instance, could end up with Quiver Dance, and that will help it out a lot more than it would just by getting a little buff to its base stats, or any other kind of cheating we could do. They will be clearly marked on the leaderboard as well, just in case we do want to differentiate between those that have had a little bit of extra help and those that can do it naturally. Now that does pose one big flaw with how we've selected the moves here. The Generation 1 Pokemon are a little bit more lopsided compared to their Generation 2 counterparts. The Generation 1 Pokemon get access to all of the TMs they can learn in Gen 1, but because Gen 2 Pokemon can't go back to Gen 1, the Gen 2 Pokemon do not have access to those. My solution to that will be to create a version of this particular challenge where I look at the Gen 3 learn sets for a lot of the Gen 2 Pokemon, and then I try and figure out which ones of those are Gen 1 moves, and we will expand the learn set that way. But again, those will be clearly marked. Now we're going to get the coin case here because we are going to grab ourselves a little rental Abra from the game corner. Instead of having a regular Abra, we're going to have a key item Abra. So that does technically mean we have two Pokemon, but one of them can never be sent out in battle. And that will act just like teleport. So we can go in and out of buildings as we please. And we'll always be able to get back to our most recent Pokemon Center. And another great thing about only having one Pokemon, we don't have to worry about Roar or Whirlwind anymore. That is such a relief, because the amount of times we'd have to pause and we'd have to just keep throwing the dice because we got trapped in a battle with Roar, those days are over, at least in the SuperMON challenges. Now we have hit our next level cap, but we are going to take on these Magmar. They have a lot of special stat experience locked away in them, and that's going to prove very, very useful. And one last thing we are going to do before taking on Whitney, we'll get the Quick Claw. We only have 60 in speed, that is nowhere near fast enough, so the Quick Claw will absolutely help us out. So we have now had a little chat with Floria. She's told us about this tree that's blocking the way, so we'll have to return all the way back to Goldenrod. And we will go into our next gym so that we can progress even further in the challenge. Now, normally with a fast Pokemon, we would be, at least in a classic run, a very, very high level compared to Whitney's Pokemon. But, of course, we are only the same as her Miltank. So that is another bit of strategizing we are going to have to do. Trainers like Whitney become incredibly dangerous. She's just as bad as she is in a hardcore Nuzlocke. So let's now see if we can take her on. She leads with Clefairy. We will body slam the Clefairy. It uses agility, but it's paralysed, so it's meaningless. She goes for Stomp and she crits. That's bad. She's locked herself into Rollout though, and she misses. We lucked our way through that. I don't think we deserved that win. However, we're not going to complain. We get the playing badge, we get an extra point, and we now have a level cap of 25. I really think we should have gone down there, although I suppose the crit was a bit of bad luck against us, so we had both types of luck, the good and the bad luck there. But regardless, it was Clefairy's to win on the day, and we can move forwards towards Ecruteak City. And now as we are making our way towards Ecruteak, we get a big hammer from the Rock Smash Man. That's going to allow us to break some rocks as we go through the course of this challenge. And I would like all of your opinions. For some challenges, especially with the weaker Pokemon, it's going to take multiple attempts to get through to the end of the challenge. Now, would you like to only see the final run where we do get through, at least as far as I think we could make it? Or would you like to see the entire process from start to finish? Seeing the initial learn set, any chops and changes, any strategy changes that I do to try and get the win. I think for this video I'm only going to show the end result because I'm hoping it will be at least a one and done to get to maybe the end of the game. if not quite far in anyway, and we'll give it another go later down the line. But please do let me know, because this is a new format. We don't know what works and we don't know what doesn't work, even down to the nitty gritty of how we want to do the whole content creation spiel as well. And now as we're heading towards the Lake of Rage, we are going to try and reach our level cap in preparation for Rival 3. We've been crit by Stomp there for the second time in as many times as Stomp has been used against us. And this does have some fantastic Pokemon for stat experience en route. We get a pair of we get a Nidoqueen and a Nidoking in Mount Mortar. We get that Nidoking there again. We get a Slowbro. And then we also get some Gyarados. So we are getting oodles of very, very good battles. And like I've mentioned a couple of times, we do still get the stat experience. So it is absolutely worth taking on some of these fully evolved Pokemon to try and get that little bit of extra to help us out. But with that, we have defeated all the trainers I want to. We will still get the full restore that is located here at the Lake of Rage. And we are also still going to get the rare candy. Now the rare candies can be used at any point in the run. I find using them between Pryce and Jazz to be the best place. But the rules state we can use them anywhere we like. Because we're at the level cap, that means we are going to go straight into Rival 3 now. There is no sense in trying to get any extra levels. We don't have any way to gain experience. So we'll go into Rival 3 and then we'll probably pick up Minceberry before we take on Morty. Because Morty could be a little bit terrifying. We are going to be slower probably than his Gengar. We'll use an Ice Beam here against the Haunter. Spike's absolutely fine. We will then swap to Flamethrower for the Magnemite. We will then move over to Thunderbolt for the Zubat. And then we'll use a Flamethrower on the Bayleaf. We end up needing 2. Absolutely fine by me. We will fall through the floor now and we will release those beasts. The last thing we need to do in the Burnt Tower is grab the HP up here. We might use that earlier than Karen because we will have enough money to buy HP ups well before the Karen fight, and we are going to go and grab the Minceberry. Now I do know in the classic challenge runs there's been a little bit of discourse about me doing early Lighthouse, and please do trust me, it only takes about 7 seconds to cycle back from Olivine to Ecruteak. I covered it in quite a few of the videos where we were doing that routing, and it does not waste time. If it wasted time, I would not be doing it. So when we go back to the classic challenge runs, I will still be doing that routing, because the levels you get do help out as well. And thinking of things we do on the classic routing, we're going to get the Mintberry, we're going to get the Nugget, but then we are going to go all the way back to Ecruteak Pokemon Center, and we will go into our next gym together. And part of the reason why I've recorded this clip is because it's the 13th of the video, and I don't want to be doing Morty on the 13th clip. I'm very superstitious, so I'll tell you what, let's skip ahead to clip 14. And now with all of the gym trainers taken care of, it's time for Morty. We're holding on to that all-important Mintberry. Let's hope we get through. This could be a tricky one, you know, for poor old CLEFABLE. We are cursed, which isn't great, and we've been sent to sleep straight away. We also don't do over half damage on the Gengar, but we have frozen it. That is the kind of luck we were needing. That's why I went for Ice Beam, and we've frozen the Haunter as well. We scam that victory. We grasp victory out of the claws of defeat, and for 2 gyms in a row, we have gotten through when we possibly shouldn't have done. That's 4 points on the board, and we can now start going towards Olivine City. Now here in Olivine, we're going to get the burly man's phone number so that he can move those boulders whenever we give him a call. It does mean that we don't have to have strength on our learn set. And we can start ascending the lighthouse. There is a bit of a gap between Morty and Chuck's levels, so we've got 4 levels to play with. 4 levels to maximise our stat experience throughout the course of this challenge. That Noctowl is going to give us a lot of physical defensive stat experience, but because our special stat experience in Gen 2 only works off special attack, we are looking for high special attackers actually to boost our special defense. It's kind of weird that, but it's one of the quirks of Gen 2 and it's why I love it so much. Hopefully now the ride up to the top of the lighthouse will be fairly smooth, although I will be honest, I am terrified of Chuck's gym that is just around the corner. It's not even necessarily Chuck himself that's worrying me the most. It is going to be that tag team of Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee. I think they will do an awful lot of damage to us. If we can get through those, I'd be fairly confident we can get through the rest of Chuck's gym, but we shall just have to see. Now here at the tippy top of the lighthouse, we'll have a little chat with Jazz. We'll grab our second rare candy of the challenge, and then we're also going to pick up the Swagger TM. Once again, it's just to buy, just to sell for a little bit of extra cash money moolah, because all the cash we can get will absolutely help out in the course of this challenge. Just before we head over to Signwood, I am backtracking ever so slightly, not to get an apricorn, but to have a chat with Sunny of Sunday. He gives us the magnet, and that will give us a little boost to our electric type moves. I'm sure you can see where we're going with that. Chuck's ace Pokemon is weak to electric, so we'll have a little bit of an extra boost to try and knock him out in maybe 2 shots instead of 3. I am also going to backtrack and do a little bit of training in a cave to try and boost our defensive stats, because most of the Pokemon you can find in caves have very, very good defensive stats. But before that, I'm going to do a very quick vitamin shop. I did 3 iron and 3 calcium for the vitamin shop, and now I'm just going to expend all of our PP here in the Dark Cave. We've got Geodude, we've got Zubat, and we have the occasional Dunsparce and maybe a Teddiursa as well. So we're going to get a lot of defensive stat experience here. I'm not terrified about the next gym battle, you are honest. Anyway, I will see you when it's all done. I think we're going to end up hitting the next level before we max out our stat experience by depleting all of our power points. But that's not to worry, we still did get a fair few battles in here in the Dark Cave, enough for me to feel slightly better about our chances at Chuck. Now it could be one of those things where I'm over worrying, but I'd much rather be prepared and try and get a victory across the line, because I have to actually use my brain in these challenges a lot more than I have been doing in the regular solo, or should I say the classic solo runs, for a very long time now. So let's now cross the open seas. We've done enough faffing about. We'll take on Chuck. I lied, there's one more bit of faff we're going to do. We're going to go back to Route 29, and we are going to try and find Tuscany of Tuesday. There she is, spinning around in the spot, and she's going to give us a pink bow. We're going to use that for the tag team battle. We're getting the early pink bow, I think, for the first time ever on the channel. And while we're here, we might as well go over to Kanto and pick up the first rare candy over there. Save a little bit of time later on. Just makes the whole getting to the Pokemon League bit a little bit smoother, and it gives us an extra rare candy we can use in the Johto section. And we're knocking out some Tentacle and getting even more bulk stat experience. But with that, I promise we are going to use the Rentalabra, and we are going to get all the way back to Cianwood City, crossing the entirety of Johto. We will do a heal, and we'll go into the gym and brace ourselves. I tell you what, the nerves you get doing a SuperMON challenge compared to a regular classic challenge run, it's absolutely no comparison. You get yourself worked up for what seems like nothing a lot of the time. The Hitmonchan can't really do much. It could have frozen us, but we got through both of those battles taking only 7 HP of damage. But the psychological impact of knowing we were going against 2 in a row with a type advantage over us was absolutely massive. So hopefully, when I've done a few more of these SuperMON challenges, the nerves will go away, because this is harder and more terrifying than a Nuzlocke. Because at least with a Nuzlocke, the worst that can happen is your Pokemon faints, and you've got a replacement. The only comparison, really, is the faintless Nuzlocke we did together earlier on in the year. But now let's heal, and we can think about how we want to take on Chuck. Positivity, we will think positive thoughts for this one. Let us destroy Chuck's absolute weak. We are going to start off with the Primeape. We will body slam it. Leah's hit us, that's not great. And here comes Poliwrath. Thunderbolt does a fair amount. Dynamic Punch misses. We are all in the clear, and we get ourselves a Storm Badge. 5 points on the board, and an incredibly generous +1 to our level cap. That does mean we do have access to the air balloon as well. That means we can fly to anywhere we have been. Now, I've not been able to fix the graphical issue on the air balloon yet, so we still have missing nodes sending us here, there and everywhere. But I don't really mind. Let's take on the Gyarados now, and I'm hoping this will be a one-shot with the magnet-boosted Thunderbolt. It is. We don't have to worry too much, at least for the time being. But I have to worry, actually, because I've got to get through this blooming rocket section where there's going to be absolutely nothing going on. It's going to be an absolute bore. So let's go back in for Pryce. Well, that's 5 minutes of my life I'm never getting back. Let's go into Pryce's gym now, and we will try and get the Glacier badge. He is our 6th gym leader together. He is worth our 6th point, and he leads with Seal. Seal goes down in 1 Thunderbolt. Let's try against the Dugong. A Roar Beam hits us for a little bit of damage, but we do 2-shot it, and that brings us on to Piloswine. We do a lot of damage on turn 1, he doesn't even bother to heal on turn 2, and that was a very nice gym battle there. We get the Glacier badge and our 6th point, and we can leave here knowing that we don't have to worry about Mahogany Town at all for the rest of the challenge. However, we do now have a choice. We risked it with Gengar and didn't level up for Jasmine, and it paid off. I'm thinking, we might do the same here and save those rare candies for the league, because I think they'll be a little bit more useful when we get to people like Karen, where we don't really have a good answer for her. Karen will be our Achilles heel, along with maybe Will again, and possibly even Koga's Crobat could throw a little spanner in the works. We have a long way to go until we get there, though. For now, our focus is on Jazz. She is our next gym leader in front of us. We have given her the secret potion. There's no more procrastination that we can do. We will escape rope out of here, and we shall go into her gym and take her on. So what do we think? Should we risk it for a biscuit? Should we go in without any rare candies? What's the worst that can happen? I'm not even holding the charcoal, I've just noticed. We know that we're going to melt the Magnemite, there's absolutely no doubt about that. It's going to be the Steelix, and whether we can 2-shot it, and the answer is a resounding yes. Iron Tail hits, she doesn't heal either, and we grow to level 32. We defeat Jasmine, and we have our 7th and penultimate point that we can get from the Johto area of the challenge. We get that dreaded call from Professor Elm. There's stuff going on in Goldenrod City. We're not going to deal with it straight away, though. I'm going to make my way through the ice path, pick up a couple of bits and bobs that I want to have from the eastern part of Johto, and then we will do a Rival 4. Now, as I've mentioned a couple of times, because this is fairly new, there's going to be a lot of trial and error and a lot of experimentation, and that speed stat is worrying me, so I'm thinking about going on the grind for a little bit and trying to battle as many Poliwag as possible to just get a little bit more in our speed stat experience. Now, the best place to do that is probably in Equity City, because up here in this water, we can hopefully then use the honey jar. Let's see if we can. And just get our encounters over and over again. I got into a nice little rhythm there, doing our stat experience training. Ended up depleting all of our power points, got a few thousand in the speed stat experience, and about 1,000 or so in the other stat experiences as well. I think that will get us in very good stead. Maybe not for the section of the challenge we are in, but we needed to get some levels anyway because we had that huge jump in level cap. Well, I think maybe that could help if we get to red for outspeeding the Pikachu, and maybe even a couple of the other Pokemon as well. We shall have to see, though. But for now, I've got to get through this horrible rocket section. I'm not going to make you sit through the rocket section, but I am absolutely going to make you sit through rival number 4. Here's the penultimate Jotonian rival battle, and he leads with Golbat. We outspeed the Golbat, which is very nice to see, and we knock it out in 1. We will use Flamethrower against the Magnemite. Here comes the Haunter. We'll use Ice Beam. We've got Nevermelt Ice. It does boost our Ice-type moves. We will ignite the Sneasel, knock it out in a single hit, and then we will use Ice Beam against the Meganium. Very nice and simple Rival 4 there, but that does not spell the end of the rockets for me. There's even more of them. Let's catch up when they're done. I think out of the entire rocket section, it's the burglars that I find most egregious. because they know that it's a bad section to begin with. However, those two burglars come in and go, no, we're giving you extra battles, because you really wanted extra battles, didn't you? In this incredibly tedious section, we're going to be just as underleveled as all of the rockets in that section. I don't know what Game Freak were thinking with those burglars. They really, really do get on my nerves. Is it just me? Is it just me that takes those personally, or is it everybody else? Please do let me know I'm not alone there. I might very well be alone. Or, what's more likely is I was alone, and now somebody else is going to think, oh, actually, yeah, that's really annoying, and I've just ruined Gen 2 for somebody. Anyway, we've got some trainers to take care of here in Claire's gym, and then we will be able to take her on. I do like doing full trainers in Claire's gym, even in the classic solo challenges, because a lot of them are good litmus tests for how well you'll do against Claire herself. For instance, the Horsey and Cedra lines, they're a very good idea if you're using a physical move, to see just how much your physical move will do. We're not going to be in any danger. So that Body Slam says to me we would not be able to one-shot the Dragonair with Body Slam. However, we have this Dragonair here. We can test out Ice Beam. We one-shot it, so there's a very high chance that we would be able to one-shot Claire's Dragonair as well, which then means I don't have to worry about holding a Persecure Berry, and instead I can hold something that might help against the Kingdra. Talking of Claire, that's exactly where we are now, so let's see how we get on. This is Claire. She is our 8th and final Johtonian gym leader. She is a Dragon-type specialist who leads with Dragonair. And yeah, so one shot on the Dragonair, we don't need to worry about those. We're probably actually going to use Ice Beam against Kingdra as well, because we have Pryce's Badge Boost and the Nevermelt Ice. That's going to give us some of the highest damage output we can. Now Claire is going to Healing Loop, which is a little bit pesky, but we've frozen her and we get the victory. So we will now rush into the Dragon's Den and we'll get ambushed by the trainer that we actually have to defeat in order to get the Rising Badge. Thank goodness he's got another dragon as well, and we still had Ice Beam PP. Otherwise we could have been in trouble because I forgot to heal there after Claire. I'm doing my classic challenge run routing of just rushing in quick, sharp and in a hurry. We'll answer 11212 here as well, and that will give us Claire's badge. She enters into the Dragon's Den. She's very shocked that we know how to raise a Pokemon. Maybe she can take some lessons off somebody who does know. We obtain the Rising Badge, gets our 8th point on the board, and we can now start thinking about the Pokemon League. And now as we are heading closer and closer to the Pokemon League, the nerves are starting to kick in. I've got a lot of apprehension. We are really committed to this CLEFABLE, and I want to see it go as far as we possibly can. We do still have a couple of obstacles between us and the league, so we can't get too ahead of ourselves, but I really don't think that Beth here is going to prove to be very problematic, although I did use the wrong move there. Although Stomp did not crit us for the first time, and then we do have a Rival 5 as well before we even think about the Pokemon League, so let's get ourselves through the gate. We will prove that we have the 8 badges of Johto, whether we deserve them or not, because honestly that mid-game was a little bit rough, wasn't it? I don't think we deserved some of those wins, but we will absolutely take them. Let's get ourselves through now. Let us pick up the HP up, which we will use for the Karen strat, and let's now take on Rival number 5. I'm not seeing any issues at all here at Rival 5. He's going to lead with Sneasel. We'll use Flamethrower, we outspeed it, we knock it out in 1. Golbat comes out, we've got an Ice Beam with its name on it. The Nevermelt Ice guarantees the one-shot, although we probably didn't even need to hold it. Magneton goes down with an unnecessary crit. And what about Haunter? We one-shot with Ice Beam, that's very good to see. Kadabra's got no physical defense, so we can body slam it. And now the Meganium is a 2-shot, that's absolutely fine by me. 2 shots is not bad on a Pokemon with quite as much bulk as Meganium. But with that, we have made it to the Pokemon League. Let us buy our 4 full restores. We cannot use any more vitamins. I have maxed them out, barring in HP, and we want to use the HP up strategy anyway. So let's now take a look at our stats going into the league. We are level 42 with 159 HP rather. Nevermelt Ice with Ice Beam, Flamethrower, Thunderbolt and Body Slam. 94 in attack, 98 in defense, 108 in special attack, 112 in special defense and 86 in speed. Do remember those are the out of battle stats. We will get a big buff in battle, as we'll see against Will. And now, just before taking on Will, I do want to do my pre-league predictions. If we outspeed the Xatu, I think we'll be fine with Will. We've got Ice Beam for his Xatu, we've got Flamethrower for the Jinx, we have Ice Beam for the Executor, and we also have Thunderbolts for the Slowbro. I think that Koga's Crobat could be a little bit pesky. Maybe some issues with the Muck as well, but the rest will be easy. Bruno could throw a spanner in the works, so I'm going to hope that Body Slam is enough to take care of him. Karen's going to be anyone's guess, and then if we get through Karen, we get through Lance. I really think Karen should have been the champion of the Elite Four in this region, because she is an awful lot stronger than Lance, you know, and if you swap their levels around, she'd be even stronger still. But that's enough faffing about. Let us battle Will. He is our first Elite Four member. He is a Psychic type specialist who leads with a Xatu. We outspeed the first Xatu, that is a very good sign, and we are on to Jinx. We also outspeed the Jinx, but we do not knock her out in one. Short Sleep, though, is absolutely fine by me. We'll go back to Ice Beam for the Executor, that's a one-shot. Slowbro comes out to play, we'll start with a Thunderbolt. He uses Curse, that's fine by us because we can use the double Thunderbolt. And then we will use an Ice Beam against Xatu, number 2. Will is down, and we get our 9th point on the board, and we can take on Koga next. Now, I think for Koga, we're going to hold on to the Bitter Berry. There is a real chance we get confused here, so we will have to play it fairly carefully. Our Eidos is fine, we can Flamethrower that, but I don't think we're going to one-shot this Venomoth. He goes for Psychic, that's fine by me. It just means we can hold on to the Bitter Berry for another day if we need it. We get through the Fortress and we are on to Muck. We use Body Slam as he minimises, we hit twice in a row, Toxic misses, and we are at nearly full health for the Crobat. Wing Attack hits for slight damage, but we've frozen the Crobat now. It is all over for Koga. We survive at just over half health, and we get our 10th point. Now here's somebody who could prove to be a bit of a thorn in our side. We are going to use 3 rare candies and get up to the level cap. We're holding on to the pink bow for the Bruno battle. We're going to need all the help we can get, really. This is going to be one where I think we're going to have to hope for a little bit of luck. We get through the Hitmontop in 2 turns. We're on to Hitmonlee. We one-shot the Hitmonlee. That is fantastic. Now, how about Hitmonchan? We take some guaranteed damage, but we have paralysed it. It's a shame he uses a priority move there. Can we paralyse the Machamp? Cross Chop has missed. That's fantastic. A crit knocks it out. I think we are getting through Bruno. Goodness me, that could have been a lot worse than it was. If that cross chop hit, it would have been curtains not only for Zusha, but for our Luna, the CLEFABLE as well. Let's take a moment to breathe, let's take a moment to calm down, and let's take a moment to prep for Karen. I think we've done all the prep work we can. HP up is in, we're holding a Bitter Berry, and we are at the level cap. Let's see how we get on with Karen. She is our final Elite Four member, and she leads with Umbreon. I have just realised I've not explained the HP up strategy. So if we go in, even with just 1 health point lower than our maximum health, it means that Karen is less likely to use Sand Attack and more likely to use either Feint Attack or Confuse Ray. And we have the Bitter Berry to counter Confuse Ray, and that means we're in with a better chance of getting through the rest of the battle. Like with everything in Gen 2, it's not guaranteed, it's all chances, but that's why we do it. So let's now put it to the test. We start with a Body Slam against the Umbreon, and you can see we have been Sand Attacks there, unfortunately. It's 3 shots on the Umbreon to knock it out, though. Let's move on to the Vileplume. We use Ice Beam and we've frozen it. So that's the 2nd time in a row, I believe, we have frozen the Vileplume in these challenges. I swear, it is not a boosted chance. We'll use Ice Beam against the Gengar as well. That goes down in 1 shot, but we are cursed. We Ice Beam the Murkrow, we get rid of it in 1. Now it's going to be all about this Houndoom. We're going to take a lot of damage from a Flamethrower here, but she doesn't heal, and we get through Karen, and we don't need to worry, because now we have the league in the bag. Or at least I hope so. I could be overconfident here, and Lance could end up completely ruining our day. We'll use the 1 rare candy we have left. We'll hold on to the magnet as well, and we'll take him on. This is Lance, he is the liar with the flyers, and he's going to lead with Gyarados. We'll use Thunderbolt on the Gyarados, it's quad super effective, we know it's going to go down in one. We also know that we are going to take care of all of the Dragonites in just one shot. So the first two go down, and that brings us on to his next two Pokemon. He starts off with Aerodactyl here. We are going to take some damage because we don't outspeed, and it's looking like a two-shot, but Hyper Beam did not crit. Let us now use a Thunderbolt against the Charizard. Flamethrower hits us and we're burnt. However, we only have the last Dragonite left to go. We outspeed it, we knock it out in one, we grow to level 50, and we defeat Lance. And that means we have a grand total of 14 points, because of course we get 2 points for defeating the champion. We are halfway through this challenge now, but that is of course only half of the story. There is potentially another 8 gym badges plus a red fight left to come, so don't you dare go anywhere, because Kanto is next. And we are rejoining the action here in Vermilion City, where the first thing we're going to do is get all of Kanto unlocked. On our SuperMON runs, we unlock every single gym and every bit of storyline in Kanto straight away, so that we don't have to worry about doing it mid-gym leader gauntlet, because we don't know what order we're going to be facing the gyms in yet. I'm going to try and pick and choose easiest to hardest to give us the best chance of getting through, because there is still a teeny tiny bit of peril here in the Kanto section, definitely not as much as in the Johto section, especially in the early game, but do not discount a lot of these Kantonian gym leaders when it comes to SuperMON. I really think we cannot afford to rest on our laurels, because we either have the choice of doing a fair bit of grinding in Kanto to get all the way up to a level 58, our level cap for Blue, or we can do it a little bit fairer for the Kantonian leaders and face them at our current level. Unfortunately, no matter what way we cut it, because of the level curve in Generation 2, we're always going to be slightly over-leveled, at least for the start of the Kanto challenge, so we can't even do any level cap shenanigans. I would love to be able to drop our experience points here for Kanto, but I don't think that would make a very, very good video, honestly. Could be something we do on a stream, maybe for some special occasions, maybe something for April Fools as well. But we now have the first part of the Kanto section all unlocked. I'm going to show you actually what we do here in Kanto in full today, because I don't think I've ever shown it in the Nuzlocke. We'll skip Nugget Bridge for now and we'll just go straight for the machine part that hides here. And then after that, we use our rental Abra to get all the way back to the power plant. And then we're already about halfway through our little Kantonian storyline gauntlet here. We'll plonk on a Max Repel. We will then surf back down to the power plant, and we will have a little chat with the manager once more. I've actually been thinking on the classic challenge runs, it probably wouldn't waste that much time doing all of the storyline at once and then just flying to whichever gyms we want to take on in whichever order, because then we might end up saving a little bit of time, you know, with avoiding some ranges if we're able to do some of the easier gym leaders. For instance, Brock is normally a very easy gym leader if you've got a special type move, so having him just be one-shots and then going into, say, Surge, who can be a tricky gym leader, a little bit later on, could actually save time in the long run. There are loads of little things with the classic challenge runs that I do want to analyse over the little break we're taking, at least from classic challenge running for now, as we're focusing on SuperMON. And it's on those breaks, you know, that we end up making a lot of progress with the routing. You saw it with the earlier N-Force break I had this year. We ended up getting a lot of progress done with our Kantonian routing and with our Jotonian routing, actually. And we are saving even more time, and that's why our PB is now just shy of the hour mark. Well, just over the hour mark, not just shy would be if we were under the hour. But that is actually all of the Kantonian storyline done. We're just going now to unlock more of the cities. We'll have a little chat with Blue, get him sent to Viridian City, and then I think we will take on, like we did last time, Janine first. she's going to be the easiest, and she is fairly close to where we are now. So Blue gets sent to a Viridian City. We have rare candies if we absolutely need them before taking the candy jar, and we will bypass Blaine, because I don't think we're going to be quite capable of one-shotting all of Blaine's Pokemon quite yet. I think we'll be fine if we don't get burnt, but I don't want to risk it, especially when, remember, one reset means game over and we are back to the start. But with that, we have made landfall here in Fuchsia City, so we will go up and we will take on Janine. She is everyone's favourite pushover, and she is a poison type specialist, also specialises in a bit of nepotism. She leads with Crobat. We'll Ice Beam the Crobat, we'll knock it out in one. We grow to level 52, and here comes a Weezing. Once again, we'll stick with Ice Beam because it's our strongest special move at the moment, and a Weezing number 2 goes down as well. That will bring us on to her bugs. We will use Flamethrower against her bugs. We will guarantee the one-shot against both Ariados and Venomoth. Very much a similar team to her father's, and we have our 15th point on the board. With that, we can leave and think about who we want to take on next. And I think the next gym leader we're going to take on is going to be Erica in Celadon City. That isn't too far of a trip, especially because we've already unlocked the fly points. We do get a PP up, and we get the leftovers here in Celadon. Two very useful items. PP up can come in handy if you need to absolutely brute force the Snorlax at red, so we are going to put our PP up straight away into Body Slam, because that gives us some extra Body Slam power points, and that could make all the difference at red, you know. We saw it with the Gengar challenge. The PP ups definitely got us through that Snorlax there. Admittedly, we were dealing with a rest loop with the Gengar versus Snorlax, and we won't be dealing with that here, hopefully. But it just goes to show that sometimes you have to do things very early on in a run that will end up helping you very late in the run. In fact, that's kind of what this challenge is about, isn't it? It's about prepping early, and that's something I definitely don't do in our classic challenge runs, and it's a steep learning curve here. The other big steep learning curve, actually, is learning how to put these videos together, because it's completely different to anything I've done. I've tried to keep it vaguely familiar, but with a little bit more waffle in the meantime. And now we are taking on Erica. I didn't bother to introduce her because she's going to be as easy as anything. It should hopefully be just 4 one-shots to get rid of all of her Pokemon, and then we can move on. Yep, 4 one-shots gets us our 16th point on the board. We get Gear Drain as well, not that we can use it. And now we have the choice of who to go to next. I think there's only really one choice for me. That's going to Cerulean City, where we will take on Misty. Misty is going to be our next gym leader. She's going to be worth our 17th point, and she will lead with Golduck. We'll use Thunderbolt against Golduck, we'll knock it out in a single hit, and then out comes Quagsire. We don't have anything great for it, but she should go for Amnesia, which gives us just a free turn of Body Slam. Thunderbolt on the Lapras probably won't one-shot, but she doesn't go for Perish Song, and that means we are guaranteed the victory. We outspeed the Sami, we knock it out, we grow to level 57, and that is the Cascade Badge acquired. What a nice and simple gym battle. And now, while we're on a roll, we will go over to Pewter next. Brock is living in Pewter. He's a fairly easy gym leader, although he does have somebody guarding him. So we are going to have to take care of Camper Jerry and his Sandslash. We will use an Ice Beam there to knock it out in one, and we will engage Brock in battle. He's a Rock-type specialist. He has a weakness to Ice Beam and a weakness to Thunderbolt, so this should be fairly simple. So one shot to get us started on the Graveler. It's a one shot on the Rhyhorn as well. Out comes the Omastar, so we will swap to Thunderbolt. We get rid of Omastar in one, we'll swap back to Ice Beam for the Onix. We grow to our level cap, and then because we know we can one-shot the Onix, we will one-shot the Omastar rather, we will one-shot the Kabutops as well, and we get our 18th point. And now the easy gym leaders are starting to get a bit thin on the ground. So let's now go to Saffron City, where I think Sabrina might be the easiest of the 4, I beg your pardon, we have left. So let's now engage her in battle. We are relying on Body Slam doing the pulling here, I think. She leads with Espeon. Does Body Slam one-shot? Yes, it does. That fills me with great confidence, because I think if we one-shot the Espeon, we one-shot all of them. We outspeed the Alakazam as well, so no worries at all here at Sabrina. We obtain the Marsh badge, and we can leave now and probably take on Surge next. So Surge is, of course, another one of those pesky gym leaders with people guarding him. So we are going to have to get through Gentleman Gregory as well here, but again, shouldn't be any problems at all, at least with Eggy Greggy, because he's only got a Pikachu and a Fluffy. We've got Body Slam. We know what happens when we Body Slam things. They generally just go away in one shot. We are going to use one of our 3 Max Elixirs. I thought we had 4 for some reason. And we will now take Surge on in battle. He is an Electric Type Specialist who leads with Raichu. We'll one-shot the Raichu with Body Slam. That's a very good start. We outspeed the Electrode. That was the whole reason we were delaying him a little bit. I wasn't confident about outspeeding the Electrode, and they can cause all kinds of shenanigans. We get through both of those. That just leaves Electabuzz left to go. We knock it out in one. That is Surge defeated, Thunder Badge acquired, and that is our 20th point. We are into our 20s now with our points, and we only have 2 gym leaders left to go. The first one, he's pesky as well, not because he's got anyone guarding him, but because he doesn't have a bloomin' fly point to get to him. So we are going to go over to the Seafoam Islands, and we will take on Blaine. Blaine is our penultimate gym leader of this SuperMON challenge, and he leads with Magcargo. We'll use a Thunderbolt against the Magcargo, and we knock it out in one. I wonder if Surge's Badge Boost actually helps there. We'll Body Slam the Magmar, and then we will use Body Slam against the Rapidash. Fire Blast hurts, but it doesn't burn us, and that means we are guaranteed the victory. Blaine has defeated, Volcano Badge acquired, and that means we have just one more Cantonian gym leader left to go, and that is Blue. So we will do our customary heal here in Viridian Pokemon Center. We will cycle up to Blue's gym, and then we'll think about how we want to take him on. I reckon the strat is to just go full leftovers and hope for the best here at Blue. He is a mixed type specialist, our final gym leader, and he leads with Pidgeot. Now, are we going to one-shot the Pidgeot with Ice Beam? The answer is yes. It's a very good start. How about Body Slam on the Alakazam? We're not going to one-shot it now because the pesky thing has used Reflect. We've paralysed it though, and we can knock it out. And we did actually stall some turns there because he got caught in a little bit of a healing loop. We one-shot the Rhydon. We have Thunderbolt. No one saw that. For the Gyarados. I said it, so you know it was a misclick. We'll use Ice Beam against this Exeggutor. We don't quite one-shot it, but he's going for Solar Beam for no good reason. And now the Arcanine could be a little bit pesky as well. Flamethrower could burn us, but it looks like we are mostly in the clear. He's going to get caught in a healing loop. It's probably going to be another 2 turns to knock it out, but we should survive even a critical hit Flamethrower. Oh no, he's got another full restore. Goodness me, I forgot about that. Let's just hope that these leftovers put in the work. We are now good, honestly. We're through. It's fine. Earth Badge acquired. Candy Jar also acquired, I mentioned at the top of the run. Once we get all of our gym badges to make up the level difference in level cap, we have 23 levels to get through. We do get the Candy Jar just to save a little bit of time in production. And technically it does make the challenge harder for Red, because we don't go through the league and get all of that stat experience over and over and over. But now we have had a little chat with Professor Oak. He has unlocked Silver Cave for us, so that is going to be our final destination for this challenge. And I think we've had a fairly lucky run again. Of course, I have had a couple of runs before recording this CLEFABLE, in between Gengar and CLEFABLE, that were absolute travesties, to be perfectly honest with you. So I'm happy to get another run to Red. No matter what happens now, this is going to be a video. It's probably going to be the weekend after, or the weekday after, the Gengar run, and we will see how we fare at Red. So I'm going to Candy Jar off camera, save you all that flashing. And with the Candy Jar all used up, we're at level 80 when we're at our max level for this challenge. And I was a little bit cheeky. I used the Honey Jar afterwards to see our stats, and we're going to outspeed the Pikachu. So that makes me feel a little bit better. Let us engage Red in battle. We'll see how we get on. We'll either win or we won't win. We'll find out. We get rid of Pikachu in one shot. We're on to the Peskeon. We paralyse it and Reflect is up. That's a little bit annoying, but there's not much we can do. We'll Ice Beam the Snorlax as he uses Amnesia. We'll swap to Body Slam now. We've paralysed the Snorlax, and the Snorlax has not paralysed us back yet. Oh, the Reflect has faded. We're not getting paralysed by Snorlax. That is really, really good, actually. We'll use an Ice Beam here against the Venusaur, hoping that he sees the two-shot. He doesn't, which is a little bit annoying, but we'll finish it off with another Ice Beam. We are going to take a lot of damage now from Flamethrower, but we outspeed the Charizard. Do we get burnt, or do we get crit? No, we don't. That's fine. I think we have another SuperMON on our hands here. Rain Dance is what we like to see. Red has thrown, and CLEFABLE is officially a SuperMON. Now, let's just do a very, very quick decompress here. We had a couple of issues at Whitney. We could have gone down at Morty. We could have gone down at Chuck as well. We lucked our way through a couple of members of the Elite Four, but then we had a very clean end. And that stat experience training, I think that time we took with the Poliwag is what let us outspeed everyone at Red, and is what let us get our victory. Anyway, with that said, let's now take a look at CLEFABLE on the SuperMON leaderboard. And now CLEFABLE is our second SuperMON on the SuperMON leaderboard. I can guarantee that we will not be filling up entirely with SuperMONs. Over the course of these challenges, there are going to be a lot that struggle in the teens, I reckon, maybe even lower than that. Now, I've decided to place CLEFABLE slightly lower than Gengar, because I feel like the middle point of the challenge was a lot stronger with Gengar than it was with CLEFABLE, but please do let me know if you think they should be the other way around, and we can always swap them around if we all agree on something. But with that, we are done for another SuperMON challenge. So I really hope you've enjoyed this one. If you have, make sure to leave a like. If you want to see these videos a little bit early, we do have options available with the channel membership to get a slight bit of early access to all of our videos here on the channel. If you do want to see more just like this as well, please do make sure to subscribe. And until next time, I will say thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you all very, very soon.